2021, for every 100,000 live births, 32.9 of the mothers died in the United States, with Black mothers holding the highest rank for mortality at close to 70%. This is almost 3 times higher than that of white women. Likewise, the number of Black babies being born to single mothers has skyrocketed since the 90s, revealing marriage to be a thing of the past, it seems. So not only are single Black mothers dying at alarming rates while giving birth or due to post-birth complications, the majority of women that do survive are bringing babies into households where they are responsible for caring for them around the clock, with little to no help from the father of these children. Just the other day, I ran across a TikTok where a pregnant woman was expressing that she was attempting to detach from the idea of a family unit from the father of her unborn child. But what caused my mouth to hit the floor was to see the countless comments from various other Black women under her post, noting that they were in the same exact situation as her. Some women on their second or third pregnancies, some who were first-time mothers afraid of the fact that they were heading into single motherhood. To see Black women, Black queens, potentially risking mortality for dusties and lacking the awareness to understand that not every man is worth putting your body and your life on the line for, and through the powerful phenomenon that we call giving birth. It made me realize the hard truth that baby mama culture is the worst viral trend that could have ever plagued Black women in the Black community. Like, this has really become a thing, second nature to us. Bring a baby into this world and then figure out the rest later. And although many of these situations are different, they all ring bells of similarity in regards to how important it is for Black women to make intentional, calculated, and conscious decisions about family planning. But more importantly, who we choose to plan our families with. Baby mama culture is beneath Black women, and we deserve more than this. You see, I look at it like the tentacles of an octopus. It has so many different arms. And it's not just one particular area of this culture that is devastating, it's multiple. And I want to address some of these today. And since I recognize that there is a younger generation of Black women that is being blinded by the $20,000 gender reveals that mimic wedding receptions and the glamorization of broken homes, I felt that it was my duty to bring this delicate issue to the table so that it can be properly dissected. Now, the first order of business before we begin to break down these arms on behalf of all of the mothers and fathers within the Black community, I would like to apologize to the young women listening to the sound of my voice who were not properly educated on sex growing up. You see, many of us grew up in households where we were not given the proper tools, the proper guidebook on how to navigate our sexual health. You don't just lose your virginity and then hop out here as a sexually active teenager or woman and then know everything that there is to know about sex and the many responsibilities that come along with it. It doesn't work like that. And technically, it is the responsibility of your guardians, of your mother and father, to see to it that you are properly educated on your sexual health and reproduction. And I'm not just talking about the standard birds and the bees conversations. I'm talking about those uncomfortable conversations that all young women should be having at some point in their lives about pregnancy and abortions, STDs, how men will say any and everything to get the cookie, and the spiritual and psychological warfare that could come as a result of having sex with the wrong person. And for those of you that are listening that have children out of wedlock or have multiple baby daddies, I would like for you to consider extending yourself some grace while listening to this video. And while I recognize that marriage is not for everyone, there might be some portions of this conversation that will be tough to hear and some areas of accountability that will surely pull some emotions out of you. So again, please extend yourself some grace, as many of us have only done what we saw firsthand or what we were taught or not taught. Now, from an evolutionary biology standpoint, and I'm talking about thousands of years ago, men had 3 reproductive strategies or pathways. And these were more so mental reproductive strategies. And I want you all to follow along with me here. Now, the first reproductive strategy or pathway were men who traditionally invested in their offspring. So these were men that were on their nomadic trek, stumbled across a woman who in return felt like these men were worthy of a relationship, and they settled in together and began having kids. These men were fully invested in their offspring and saw to it that their children were properly taken care of. Now, the second reproductive strategy or pathway were men who were on the same nomadic trek, met a woman who allowed him to have sex and impregnate her, but she did not require him to stay or to invest into the offspring. So these men were able to continue on about their way to their next destination, never to see the woman or their offspring again. But here's the catch. Men in all three of these pathways, if given the opportunity though, in which a woman is fertile and capable of producing an offspring, and she does not require commitment from them in order to have sex, would jump on this opportunity. Men who can convince or find women who are willing to produce a baby but not require them to stay or to provide any support in return to these men, when we look at this from the standpoint of evolution, is like winning the lottery. So pathway number one, we have men that meet women and invest in their offspring traditionally. Pathway number two, we have men that meet women and the women do not require them to invest into the offspring. And pathway number three, unfortunately, is rape. Now, I want you to hear me very closely here. Women who value themselves highly in reproductive terms will not jump at a sexual opportunity just because it's available. And the reason being is because what's at stake historically is so great for women. Historically, sexual interaction is basically baby roulette. And baby roulette is a dangerous game to play. I'm going to say that again. Women who value themselves highly in regards to reproduction will not just jump at a sexual opportunity just because it's available. Because what's at stake historically is so great for women. Historically, sexual interaction is basically baby roulette. And baby roulette is a dangerous game to play. Now, birth control is very toxic, not only to a woman's reproductive system, but her overall health. And I'm going to dive into this more in levels 3. But if birth control and condoms were not widely available, then essentially every time we as women lay down to have sex, we would be potentially having a baby. And I want you all to grasp the severity of this, the gravity of this. So for women, playing this type of game, playing baby roulette is so dangerous because at the end of the day, when we look at these pathways, these strategies, thousands of years ago and even present day, women will always, without a doubt, be stuck with the brunt of the responsibilities in regards to raising and rearing children if the man decides to walk away. In the first Boundary Commandments video, I mentioned that one of the reasons women are wired to be more emotional was to be able to protect their children from harm's way. And while this is one of many reasons, it is clear that this same emotional wiring is what allows us as mothers to be hyper-focused on our children, along with leaving us incapable of abandoning them, no matter any outside circumstances, no matter who chooses to stay or go, even if it is the father. So let's just start there. Okay, let's just start there. Without a doubt, when it comes to single motherhood, when it comes to baby mama culture, women will always take the full weight of the responsibility that comes along with it, whether by force or by choice. Women will always be left to pick up the pieces if the man decides to walk away. And if the baby is the product of a situationship or a relationship that did not work out, women will still be left to pick up the majority of the pieces because 9 times out of 10, the child will take up primary residence with a mother, leaving her responsible for the around-the-clock physical and emotional demands required to raise a child. What women need to get clear about is that men can always choose to stay or go. We can say it's not right. We can try to ration as to why. We can be upset, and rightfully so. But we cannot deny the facts. Men can always choose to stay or go. It doesn't make it right, but it's the reality. And it's the reality of many Black women within our community. Men can always choose to stay or go. You see, a woman who carries a baby in her stomach for 9 months forms a connection with that child while it's in her womb and then brings that baby earthside will not be as capable of walking away from the child as easily as the man can. So women can't just jump on any sexual opportunity because the repercussions and the risk that we take with the wrong man sexually should not be taken lightly. The repercussions and the risk that we take with the wrong man sexually should not be taken lightly. And the reason why excuses and a lack of accountability cannot fly here is because in a consensual sexual relationship, a woman has full control over who she chooses to share her body and her womb with. A woman has full control over whether she chooses to share her body in an unprotected manner or not. Now, one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with present day is the fact that sex has become so accessible and we've gotten far away from placing any type of value on it, cherishing it, looking at it as sacred activity. How many times have you or your friends casually talked about your D appointments? How many times have you heard women say that they need sex just because they haven't had it in so long? You see, part of the reason you are seeing so many babies out here and not the same amount of weddings is because we've turned sex into a recreational habit. It's our feminine drug of choice, the antidote that soothes women whether they know it or not, and allows them access to a brief escape from the world around us. You see, this in combination with an over-sexualized generation and the toxic media, I believe that a lot of women don't truly understand that they are having sex just for the fun of it. It's more so become a habit, more so become routine, robotic-like, the thing to do once you meet a new man. And oftentimes, a lack of confidence, low self-esteem, and seeking outside validation is entangled in a woman's need to feel like she has to satisfy a man that's not even worthy or proven himself in order to keep him around. Interestingly enough, a female orgasm is one of the highest hits of dopamine that a woman can get. In fact, it is almost 3 times higher than that of a man. And the science behind this is the number one reason we are on this earth is to procreate. And women are the vessel behind this powerful phenomenon. So a woman using her body in an unprotected manner casually, in an unprotected manner without vetting a man first, in an unprotected manner just because he spent $300 at her favorite steakhouse or whispered sweet nothings in her ear or told her she's the prettiest woman that he's ever met, is naive because when you think about it, this is the closest that a man could ever get to you. When a man is inside of you, this is the closest that he will ever get to you, the most private, the most sacred, and the most treasured place that any man can be. And trust me, they know this. This is exactly why they're willing to say and do whatever in order to get there. Sex is without a doubt a sacred energy exchange, and our attempts to again liberate it and make it casual and carefree have resulted in this current culture of baby mamahood that we all see present day. It has aided in young women believing that figuring out the details should come after the baby, that figuring out marriage and the financial stability should come after the baby, and who this man truly is should come after the baby. And the way in which we treat our cookies like Hot Pockets, playing musical chairs, has resulted in women now leaving one relationship going into the next and the next with a new baby in tow every time, all different fathers. But you know, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the glamorization of it all, the acceptance of it all, the complacency of it all, the broken homes of it all, the attempt to make this more beautiful than what it truly is, to dress it up in designer at $20,000 gender reveals and glistening engagement style rings with no engagement. Luxury push presents to celebrate dysfunction, wedding style photo shoots without a marriage in sight, normalizing 12 kids in 6 different sets of broken homes because of money and status, and hard passes to their faves because they don't fit into society's mold of what a baby mama should quote unquote look like. And the most important one of them all is the fact that real babies, real little human beings are being born into this mess. are being born into this dysfunction. You see, while we're making selfish decisions to satisfy our pleasures and fetishes, not vetting men and refusing to take accountability for our actions and learn from them so that we can get better, we're bringing children into our mess. We are robbing them of stability. Black women love to bring up every excuse in the world as to why marriage is not important. Yes, we know that all marriages don't work out. Yes, we know that marriage is not for everyone. We don't have to continue to state the obvious. But when it comes to stability, there is no question or doubt in regards to the benefit that marriage brings to Black children. Nuclear families are advantageous to Black children. They provide a strong support system and, more importantly, are proven and consistent with established daily routines. Children are able to witness firsthand conflict resolution from a person of the same sex as them and a person of the opposite sex as them, which is important for them to see. It is proven that fathers of intact families, on average, spend more time with their families. They're not bumping around from house to house, being spread thin financially and emotionally with 3 kids and 3 different baby mamas in 3 different households. When Black children grow up in homes with 2 parents who have been married continuously, they are less likely to experience a wide range of problems academically, socially, emotionally, and cognitively, not only in childhood but later in adulthood as well. These households also lessen the chance of children growing up in poverty. They give children access to more economic and community resources because the parents are able to pool their time, their money, and their energy together. So the children tend to be more of the focus of the household. And catch this. Family intactness has shown to have a consistent and positive influence on the earnings for prime age males, which means that men that are married and in these type of nuclear setups are going to be more driven to go out here and get to the bag because they know that they have a wife and kids back home to provide for. Now let's get into the girls.
Let's talk about how 2 days before they're gonna inject the baby in me, you make me go get this tattoo. Or you said that you was gonna call the doctor and cancel it. Remember that? Remember that? You lying. You're a liar. You're a liar. We made a deal. And the deal was, you asked me to have this baby.
Marissa, girl. My good sis, always pressed and stressed about NLE Choppa, has pretty much chased behind this man during their whole situationship, refuses to see that this man does not want her nor value her, pregnant last year, and went through a miscarriage and then had the nerve to ask this man, yes, I said ask this man for another baby through IVF, just for him to continue the same shenanigans that he has been on since day one. This man is bopping around the city with another woman right now while Marissa is pressed, stressed, and dealing with premature contractions, ready to bring a baby into a world for a man that does not even like her. Janiyah, first baby at the age of 18, a product of an abusive relationship with rapper NBA Youngboy, who is now on his 11th child, by the way. Tattooed his name on her face, and not even a year after giving birth is in an on and off again situationship with NBA player DeJounte Murray, who is alleged to have threatened to leak some of her personal pictures, gets a tattoo of his name on her chest, and then gets it covered up in the midst of rumored cheating allegations with his first baby mama, Imani Nicole. Both Imani and DeJounte deny it, but Janiyah broke up with him anyways because she, quote unquote, didn't know what to believe. Gets back with DeJounte, tattoos his name for a second time on her arm, and then brings another baby into the equation. 23 with 2 kids, 2 baby fathers, and no ring. And Megan Denise, in a toxic situationship with NFL player Von Miller, the same man who bragged on Instagram about how he couldn't wait to get her pregnant, only to get her pregnant and then harass her into getting an abortion when their relationship hit the rocks. And when she refuses to do what he wants her to do with her body, he prays that she has a miscarriage. Tattoo Von's name on her chest within their first year of the relationship, only to get it covered up before she gives birth to the child that he didn't want, just to go back to Von after all this and get pregnant again. 3 kids in total, 2 with Von and 1 from a previous relationship, not a marriage in sight. And yet y'all love to crucify Laura Harvey, child. Ladies, we need pathway number 1 all day, every day. Pathway number 1 all day, every day. A man should not be able to put a baby in you that easy. I don't care how much you love him. I don't care how good the relationship is going. Women take all of the risk when it comes to childbirth. Why would you want to gamble with your future like that? Until a man has married you, not said that he's going to marry you, until a man has actually taken you down that aisle, if you are sexually active with him, why would you want to do it without a condom and the proper preventative measures in place? Why would you want to play baby roulette with a man who has not even proven himself worthy to play it with? To see Black women, Black queens, potentially risking mortality for dusties and lacking the awareness to understand that not every man is worth putting your body on the line for, and through the powerful phenomenon that we call giving birth. It made me realize the hard truth that baby mama culture is the worst viral trend that could have ever plagued Black women in the Black community. Bring a baby into this world and figure out the rest later. And although many of these situations are different, they all ring bells of similarity in regards to how important it is for Black women to make intentional, calculated, and conscious decisions about family planning. But more importantly, who we choose to plan our families with. Baby mama culture is beneath Black women. We deserve more than this. Until next time.